Chapter 15, Storm. Cy was barking orders when we walked into breakfast the next morning. "And shut down non-critical areas so we can preserve power," he told Ileana. She nodded and hurried off, her husband following her. "What's going on?" Albie asked Cy. Cy was not his usual composed self. He looked stressed. "I received a weather report during the night," he said. "A dust storm is scheduled to hit." Now, the problem with dust storms was that they kicked up dust into the air which blocked the sunlight, and since the majority of our power was solar, we would have to rely much more on the batteries. "When?" I asked Cy. "In about 48 hours. The dust storm began. As the days passed, it seemed to get denser and much faster than was typical. When I went up to the core in the middle of the afternoon a few days later, the sky was a dusty haze like twilight. It was eerie. And the storm lingered. Now, usually a dust storm lasted for a few days, but after many weeks, there was still no end in sight. At supper that night, Cy gave us the bad news. "I just heard from command. This storm is officially a big one," he said. Now, every decade or so, there was a dust storm that covered the entire planet. The global dust storm was known as the big one. It was impossible to predict how long it would last. But that wasn't the only bad news. Something had happened to our batteries. A bunch of them weren't working, so energy had to be strictly rationed. Cy had ordered the heat to be turned lower, and there were no hot showers. So we bundled up in our warmest thermal suits and shivered in the shower. We kids spent most of our time in the mess hall. I pulled out a puzzle and spread it on the floor to piece together. It was of Earth, all the countries and the great oceans. "How long is this storm going to last?" Flossie asked, struggling with 2 plastic sticks and a ball of yarn. Memes had been teaching her how to knit. "It's hard to say," Memes said. "I can't wait to wash my hair in hot water," Vera said. It was greasy, just like mine. "They have dust storms on Earth?" Trey asked Memes from where he sat on the floor. He was working on the puzzle with me, and since the dust storm had arrived, it was as if a truce had been called. "Yes," she said, "but Earth storms are generally wind and water. They're called hurricanes." Now, sometimes when the grown-ups talked about life on Earth, it felt like they were remembering dreams. Water falling from the sky, Earth animals flying, places called libraries where you could simply walk in and take books home. It all seemed so fantastic. "I remember a bad storm that just about destroyed my grandpa's little house in the Florida Keys," Meme said. "The wind blew the water horizontally, and we couldn't figure out where the leaks were. What a mess that was. We had to gut the entire house." Salty Bill wandered out of the kitchen in his apron to check on our progress. "How's it going?" he asked. "Not very well," I said. I'd been trying to figure out where to put my piece for half an hour. We had finished the edges and parts of some countries, but only Antarctica was complete. How strange that this place was the cause of so much trouble. I held out my piece. "I can't figure out where it goes." Salty Bill got down on his knees and studied the puzzle. "I think that's the top of Maine," he told me. I clicked it down, and it fit. "Thanks." He winked. "Now, the best lobster I ever had in my life was in Maine." Vera looked disgusted. "Lobster? Oh my God, you ate a lobster? How could you? They're so cute." Salty Bill snorted. "Real lobsters, they are not cute, but they are tasty, especially with drawn butter and lemon. That was the best meal of my life." At the table, Memes leaned forward. "Well, I had the best meal of my life in Provence. Roast chicken, green beans, and grilled potatoes. Simple and yet perfect somehow." "Cute little chickens and lobsters? Oh my goodness, that's why I'm happy to live on Mars. I don't know how you could ever eat Earth animals," Vera said, and I had to agree. "Where's Provence?" Flossie asked. "Oh, it's in southern France," Meme said. "There are fields of purple lavender. Oh, I still remember the smell." "That sounds so romantic," Flossie said. "France is a beautiful country," Memes agreed. "But I don't understand. The French people here are dangerous. They chased us," I said. Salty Bill and Memes shared a long look. Finally, she said, Countries fight for different reasons. For instance, the United States fought Great Britain during the Revolutionary War, but came to their aid during World War II. It's complicated. And as usual, Vera had the last word. You know what's not complicated? She said. Eating cute lobsters. That's just wrong.